Welcome to Silver Bar Stacker, folks. I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying their Sunday. Well, it's Stackback Sunday here at SBS, and that means that we've got a new SBS drop. But before we get into the details about this week's drop, we've got to take care of a couple orders of business. Now, over the past few weeks, I've been initiating a few trades with one of my long-term trading partners. I, as you know, go by the name of Silver Bar Stacker, and there's a very good reason for that, because I am a silver bar stacker. I prefer to stack bars of silver, and so that's the reason that I've chosen the name Silver Bar Stacker. It's very funny because I've been reminded of this fact by a couple of different people, one of my business partners as well as this trading partner of mine, where they've kind of mentioned to me, as a friend really, that you're the silver bar stacker. You know, you're not the gold bar stacker, you're not the platinum bar stacker, you're not the palladium bar stacker. And so they have actually both reminded me this on two separate occasions, that in fact I am the silver bar stacker. And so this trade that I was initiating was taking care of two pieces of business. One piece of business for myself, and that it was helping myself kind of consolidate my stack in a way that kind of in a direction that I wanted to be consolidating that stack. And it also helped the other party because they were in the opposite situation where they were kind of trying to get rid of a lot of their obscure vintage silver especially, and kind of convert that into something a little bit that's more liquid and a little bit more compact and a little bit less of a headache for their loved ones to kind of get rid of. And that would be kind of in the form, in their opinion, of more stable assets such as gold, palladium, and platinum. And so this trade actually that we initiated consisted of me trading off a significant portion of my holdings in platinum and also quite a large portion of my palladium as well as a portion of my gold holdings. And so this was essentially a trade for vintage silver, the other parties for my a little bit more generic as well as vintage, a significant amount of actually of vintage platinum as well as generic platinum, palladium, and gold. And so this is kind of what the trade consisted of, and it's kind of funny the timing of this because all of these trades kind of were initiated before this huge bump in platinum. And so a significant portion of the trade on my end consisted of a large portion of my platinum holdings. I would say over 50% of the platinum holdings. And so it's quite funny the timing. It worked out quite nicely for the other party because we just saw a nice pump in platinum, and I'm not sure how, short-lived or long-lived that might be. This may be the start of perhaps a larger uptick in platinum. We don't know. And so I think it's a good idea to kind of be diversified in a little bit of all these metals. I certainly have a pretty decent sized portion holdings in gold, platinum, palladium, as well as even copper. But I would say that a significant portion of my holdings would be in silver, and that's why, again, I would be called a silver bar stacker, and that's why the whole store and this whole channel would be called Silver Bar Stacker. With that said, I would say that when it came down to sales this week, I would say sales kind of slowed down this week compared to last week. I wouldn't say that we had a small amount of sales. I would actually say slower amount of sales, but we still had a decent amount of sales, I would say. I just feel that there was a lot more interest last week, and that's kind of funny to think about that because last week we actually had a higher price, and it was kind of like the price was pumping, and the price was in fact I think higher when we had kind of a higher volume of sales. And now that the price has kind of gone down, we've seen kind of less interest, but I wouldn't say a small amount of interest. I would still say there's a strong amount of demand. And when it comes down to the types of products that people are buying, I would say it's all over the place, right? I would say that people definitely not shying away from higher premium items. So I guess now that spot price is kind of higher, people are less afraid or less unwilling to kind of fork over a little bit of extra dough for kind of like a nicer premium piece, because it's like, the price is high anyways, the premiums are high anyways, so it's like whatever, I'll just kind of go for the more premium stuff. So I've definitely, since we kind of specialize in premium and more fractional and collectible type of stuff, I would say that we've kind of seen a little bit more uptick in orders, and people kind of like the more unique types of pieces, and that's kind of what we specialize in. So I think that for us in particular, we've kind of seen an uptick. But when it comes down to what people are buying, they're buying everything from prospector rounds, Johnson Matthey bars. They're buying everything from even copper. I've sold some copper. I've sold some just generic fractional stuff. I've sold some, fractional coins like some Libertads and things like that. So they're kind of all over the place with respect to what they're buying. I've even gotten a little bit of participation in my weekly drops through the week, so a little bit less participation. We're not really selling out the drops most weeks lately, actually. But I usually have a little bit of participation in most of the drops. Like, for example, we've got this little 1 ounce nugget from YPS going out to one lucky stacker who kind of took part in this week's drop, so that's pretty cool, as well as some skull rounds going out to them as well. So it is fun to kind of see people getting involved, participating, and kind of still adding to the stack, and not kind of like giving up, like, oh, the price is too high, I'm not going to keep sticking to the strategy, right? Sometimes part of your strategy is like to kind of back off a little bit when the price goes higher, and then kind of back up the truck a little bit more when you see the price going down. But always keep in mind that a lot of these types of assets, they kind of historically trend up, right? And so it's not always beneficial to really time the market, right? A lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy a house on the dip and flip it on the upswing. It's kind of like, well, in the long term, in the past, those things, people were buying houses for like $18,000. So, in the long term, it was kind of just a good hold if you weren't looking at it as an investment and just kind of looking at it as like, okay, I'm just gonna get this to store my value, to reduce my liabilities, offset kind of the ongoing liabilities, and you look at it that way, then that's kind of a better way to look at it. But anyways, I digress. I go on rants, and anyways, the whole purpose of me not telling you what's going on this week's SBS drop is that I needed to get into this unboxing. And the funny thing about this unboxing is actually this is part 2 of the unboxing. I actually didn't show you part 1 of the unboxing. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, a lot of discontinued stuff, and a lot of just unique pieces. And I noticed that everything wasn't in there, and so I've got the remaining pieces in this box here. This is part 2 of that trade, so that's pretty cool. About $1,000 trade, a little bit over $1,000 value trade. So this is about half that, maybe a little bit less than half of that trade that I did. So I'm excited to take a look at the items that are in here, and I think I may have even gotten a little bit of bonus items because they had left a few of the items out. So I kind of have an idea of what one of those bonus items might be. So I'm excited to take a look at those because it's not something that I normally collect. So let's take a look and see what we got in here. Cool. Looks like we got some face masks. I wear those, but thanks. I had no idea what this thing is. It looks like a pen or something, but it really hooked me up with quite a bit of stuff. I got tons of letter openers. What I was pretty excited about, actually, that I don't actually collect, but what I did a little bit of research on was I got a ton of war nickels. So now, for my research, war nickels are actually 35% silver and 56% copper, and then the remaining portion of it is manganese. So this is like a whole bunch of war nickels. This is quite a heavy bag of war nickels. So I'm quite excited to take a look at those. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with them, but I think it's pretty cool. I didn't really realize that, war nickels was a viable option for junk silver, right? So people, they collect 90% silver. Well, there's also, your 40% silver. Why not 35% silver? This is 35% silver. So I would say the argument for not collecting this type of stuff would be the fact that it's a little bit bulky. Why the heck are you stacking copper then? Bulkier, I would say. So that's what it kind of comes down to, in my opinion, is that I stack copper, I stack silver, I stack gold, I stack platinum, I stack palladium. Why not stack a little bit of nickels? I don't think a lot of people are stacking nickels. I think they mainly stack quarters and dimes is what they're usually after. So I think, the reason why people kind of don't go after nickels, other than the fact that they're really bulky and heavy, is that they're kind of higher mintage, so they're a little bit less collectible maybe as well. I'm not sure if that's the case. I mean, I think that is the case, but I don't think that people are really going after dimes and quarters too much because of the collectability. I would say that pennies get the most out of collectability, and then followed by quarters and dimes. And then nickels, people aren't really after nickels too much because I think these war nickels were a little bit higher mintage, but I don't know, they didn't make them across too many years, so I don't know, maybe war nickels will take on, maybe they won't. I don't know. I think, the chance of war nickels taking on is as good as the chance of copper taking off. So anyways, we'll take a look at some of these war nickels. There's some other interesting pieces here, so I'm pretty excited to take a look at these. And then it looks like the bulk of what we have is wrapped inside this bubble wrap. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got inside these little gift boxes first. Looks like this one is a nice little timber wooden box. That's pretty nice. It's a really lightweight box. And wow, this is a really nice presentation box. This is just an empty capsule. So this, I think, is just something that my friend gave me because he felt bad that he left out the bulk of the items, and so he just gave me this little box in case that I wanted to give it to one of my customers, maybe a special customer or something. So I'm pretty excited to have that little box there. That's pretty cool. This is an actual piece that we traded. It's a little pendant. It's kind of like an all or nothing trade. I was kind of like, he really wanted to clean out most of his stuff, and so I agreed. I agreed to take it all. It's kind of all or nothing, take it all, but we kind of worked it out. So check this out. This is a little sterling silver pendant, which is first of all pretty cool. And then on top of that, it's a little 1 gram silver Suiza. Check that out. It's a Suiza. 1 gram fine silver, 999. And then it's on a sterling silver pendant. Check out the back. It's got a little Suiza stamp there. How freaking cool is that? Little 1 grammer. I love that little diagonal stamp. I feel like that was like a really common way to stamp stuff back in the day. Engelhard, JM, Monarch Precious Metals, everybody has this little sort of a diagonal looking reverse on the back there. I just think that that's pretty cool. Little Suiza pendant, 1 gram pendant. So let's take a look at this. Pandagram. Wow, so this is probably a little frack, a little panda frack. I think this is a 5 gram pendant. Yeah, check this out. This is also a sterling silver pendant, but check it out. It's a little 5 gram panda pendant. 5 gram fine silver. What does that say there? It says Singapore CIS Mint. I'm gonna take a look at this side. It's an actual pandagram. So you know how there's a you probably don't know this, but there's a Johnson Matthey qualigram. I've seen it in gold, I've seen it in silver. This is a pandagram. I really like this little 5 gram ingot. How cool is this? And it's like a little odd shaped. It's not like a perfect rectangle. It's kind of got a little girth to it. And the fact that I got it in the original box, I really like it. I really like this one. I really like the pandagram a lot. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got here. Check this out, dude. There's like also some additional coins here. I'm not sure what these are. I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a deeper dive on these, but there's a really tiny little coin here. Pretty excited about looking at all of these. These are pretty dirty, these war nickels. I guess they're pretty old. They're from the 40s. War nickels are from the 40s. Yep, this is in 1942. I don't know, man. I'm a fan of nickels. I'd stack nickels. These are pretty toned up. This is 1943. So I bet I can make some sets. We've got quite a few nickels here. I bet I can make some sets here. Just had a 42 and a 43 right there. Not exactly sure how many years there are here on the nickels. If you know how many years there are on the nickels, just mention it there in the comments. So I'm excited to kind of dig through these nickels the same way I would prospectors. It'll be an exciting little project. So like I said, these are all got 0.05 ounces roughly, I think, of silver, 35% silver, and not to mention that it's 56% copper. So if you stack copper, why wouldn't you stack war nickels? Because if you stack copper and you stack silver, well, a war nickel is pretty much mostly copper and silver. So I would definitely stack nickels for sure. I mean, I stack a significant amount of copper. I would say I stack a significantly more than the average amount of copper than the average person stacks. So it's almost a no-brainer to stack some war nickels, especially if you can get some nice sets. And I think the sets are pretty easy to make too right now, because I think war nickels are pretty easy to come by, because I think they're really high mintage. So I think you could probably find them pretty easily. I don't know for sure, don't quote me on that, but I think you could probably find them pretty easily, right? I mean, I've got some. From what I've read online, I don't know too much about war nickels, but from what I've read online, they were high mintage. So I think you should be able to find them pretty easily. So maybe a kind of a cool little fun project for you or your kids maybe even to work on. Filling up some albums of nickels. I don't think there's even that many years that there are for you to fill. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were just in the 40s. Somebody knows, they can say in the comments. I really like this pouch. Maybe I'll use this pouch for my war nickels. Maybe not. Don't want to ruin Raven's nice pouch. Some silica gel. That was a nice touch. Now, what I really like instantly about this right here, this is definitely an old school combi bar. So toned up around the edges. So that's really cool. That's appealing actually to me in the first place. What else is appealing to me about this combi bar is that this is the old school version of the combi bars. This is not what combi bars look like anymore. They come in a nice little refined package now. So let me go ahead and grab a combi bar of the present day age and I'll show you what they look like. So this is what combi bars look like now. This is what a new combi bar looks like, and this is what an old combi bar looks like. See, they still got the instructions there, but it's... Look at this. Look at all this toning. Some people would find this very unappealing. I find it quite cool. Especially these little ingots right here. I find those to be cool. Got a little tape tone there. So that's pretty cool. This is a new one. This is an old school one. Really, really heavily toned combi bar. Really like that. A little bit more combi bars. So we've also got a little bit of fracks here. I always like to get some fracks. It's always nice to get some fracks for the frack bin. You know, we have some nice customized listings where they're kind of SBS curated listings. And so we always like to have some nice little interesting fracks for the fractional bin. An SBS curated fractional bin, we've got an SBS curated vintage bin, we've got an SBS curated premium junk bin. So, you know, things like these eagles, these silver eagles, maybe you might find something like this in the premium junk bin. Maples, things like that. Pandas. This is what is this? Oh, this is still in the original factory seal, 1989. These are the types of things that you will find potentially in the premium junk bin, right? And then we've got the vintage bin. We've got the fractional bin. Check this out. This is something, a half ouncer. You might find something like this, half ouncer inside the fractional bin. I think this is a quarter ouncer. Pretty cool. Here's another one of those 10 grammers. I like these little 10 grammers. Check this one out. 20 grams. I think this one's from India. That's pretty cool. Check this one out. This is a little Liberty 20 gram chunker. I love Liberty stuff. I'm a huge fan of Liberty stuff. I'm a big fan of Liberty stuff, especially when it comes to Liberty vintage stuff. And check it out. This is actually a Monarch Precious Metals 20 gram bar. MPM. Remember I was talking about the diagonal stamp being a popular thing? Well, this I think is probably an old school little chunker with the Liberty on the front and the MPM diagonal stamp on the back. That's pretty cool. Wow, look at this thing. Pretty cool. And notice how that number is the same on all of them. 100296. Cool. This must be like a little lot number or something, I'm not sure. Pretty cool though. Now this same 20 gram bar that we have, we got a 50 gram version as well. I think these bars were made in India, so that's pretty sweet. Now check this one out. This is refined met, 999, 40 grams. Supposed to be some Monarch Precious Metals bars in here, and I think that's what these are. Yes, they are. Check these out. These are meeting and exceeding my expectations, these Monarch Precious Metals bars, because I didn't know that they were going to be such handsome little chunkers. I really like chunky bars. I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of chunky bars and rounds. I would say I would always prefer a chunky bar and round over a non-chunky bar round. So these are very appealing to me. And on the front here, that's the front. It's not a Liberty. It's just a nice standard 1 troy ounce. And you've got the reverse stamp there. But what I really like about these is the thickness. These are some nice thick chunkers. So these 1 troy ounce little bars, these could be in your premium junk bin as well. This is something you might find in your premium junk as well. So these are some pretty cool pieces that I was able to pick up. I'm pretty excited about them. Now check this one out. I remember previously giving a nice little US silver credit, I think it was an ingot, a little gold ingot I think, to STG. So check this one out. This is also a US silver credit. Silver assay certificate. This certificate guarantees that the purity of this US silver credit ingot is assayed 9999 fine silver. Ingot number 067654. And this thing is super toned up, as you can see. So I think this is pretty cool because it comes with the sterling silver pendant once again. Very, very neat actually. And I think I understated how awesome this 40 gram refined met bar is. How cool is this? $28.79. If only. Now, check this one out. National Refiners. I'm excited to pick this one up because this is a vintage bar and I don't have a single example of this. I'm very, very excited to have this bar. It's a nice serialized bar. 120192. Very nice bar. And this is what I feel is the most unique piece out of everything that I picked up from this trade. And this is what I was most excited about and was most noticeable when I didn't see this bar was this is a nice 1.35 ounce silver enameled hollow bar. This is made in Korea. So this is actually a 42 gram bar. Pretty excited about picking this one up because it was a very, very unique piece. And I don't know, I just find this to be a really cool piece. So this is the one that stood out the most for this trade, in addition to that panda. And there were some really, really nice pieces that came in on that first part of the trade, such as some USVI, some Credit Suisse, and a lot of really cool, unique pieces. So you'll see those kind of make their way through some of these vintage bins, some of these normal buy it now listings, and I'm even going to try to start some stuff maybe on Instagram. I haven't figured out exactly how that's going to be working out, but maybe we might do some buy it now listings, or maybe some auctions, or maybe a little bit of both on Instagram somehow, some way. So go ahead and follow us on Instagram if you're not already. In addition to that, I think what we need to conclude with here is we've got to have an SBS sale, right? And so I think one of the cool things that people kind of get a kick out of, and what makes SBS website and store a little bit more unique and sets us apart from some of the other places that you might regularly buy your bullion, is I think we have kind of like a little unique way of selling things, and we also have a unique way for you to buy things, right? And I think we also provide a unique selection of items. And I also think that people appreciate certain things that we do, such as provide like free shipping, and we just include the free shipping in your purchase no matter what. So I think there's a few things that kind of stand out about our website that entice certain buyers, and that's why we have a lot of repeat customers. We don't have a lot of customers, but the customers we have are kind of repeat customers. And so I think one of the things that sets us apart, though, is the fact that we have these kind of cool, unique SBS drops. We have the SBS exclusive section where we kind of have full sets and things like that you normally wouldn't be able to find otherwise. But I think one of the cool things that we are able to offer are these SBS drops that we do every week, and those are really catered to the YouTube following, because the YouTube following are the people that are actively supporting SBS, who are actually coming here and watching the videos every week and actually physically supporting us as real people, right? So we really appreciate that, and actually most, I would say, our customers on the website are actually people from the YouTube community, so we appreciate that we feel that that's awesome. And so especially for the people who are following us on YouTube, we like to give you all an edge, and that's in the form of the SBS drops, because the SBS drops are usually where you'll be able to find the cheapest available products. When it comes down to, like, if you were looking to purchase the particular item that was featured on that week's drop, it would be cheaper on the drop than it would be probably when we normally sell it as a buy it now on our website. So it's usually a good opportunity to buy the thing that we are selling if you happen to be in the market to be buying said item. So anyways, that's what sets us apart, and because that's what sets us apart, and because we have sold a lot of units in our vintage bin and our mystery box items and things like that this very week, I felt like maybe it would be a good opportunity to discount our mystery box item by $10 for this week, because a lot of people still haven't tried out the mystery box item. A lot of people haven't tried out the bin listings when it comes down to the premium junk or the SBS curated vintage selections or the SBS curated fractional bins. And I think that that's kind of like something that you can't really find other places, right? Because you can usually find a generic random design listing, but you won't usually find a generic random design listing where they're actually going to guarantee it's not going to be generic and that it's going to be vintage, or that's going to be something better than something that's crappy generic, right? Or where it's going to be something guaranteed to be fractional, a mix of fractional goodies, right? So I think that those are three little listings that we have that kind of are pretty unique. And I think the other fourth listing that we have that's unique, that a lot of people like to take part in, is the mystery box, right? Because that's like, you're really rolling the dice. You don't know if you're going to get one item, you don't know if you're going to get 10 items, you don't know if those items are going to be a gram each or if they're going to be an ounce each, right? All you know is you're just going to get a random selection of stuff curated by us, and it's probably going to be pretty cool, right? And so I felt like we've had a fair amount of sales on the mystery box listing, but I would like to see more people take part in this in the mystery box listing. And so I thought I'm going to run a special on the mystery boxes for this week, where instead of $50, it's going to be $40 for a mystery box, and I'm going to allow people to order up to 5 units on that. So you're allowed to purchase up to 5 units at $40 per unit, and so if you purchase 5 units, for example, then you would get 5 separate ounces inside your mystery box. And if you just purchase a single unit, then you'll just get a single mystery box with a single item. So now's your opportunity to grab a discounted mystery box. So if you're in the market for a discounted mystery box, feel free to hop on in and take part on the special SBS drop link, which will drop in the video description. So go ahead and take part in that if you're interested. If not, no big deal. The mystery box listing is always going to be there and is always going to be available for anybody who wants to try it out. And if you want to take a look and browse the website and take a look at what we have up for offerings, feel free to do so. Hey, you might see some of these very pieces that you witnessed here on this unboxing up on the store soon. Cheers!